Hey folks, I've been kicking around in my practice for a little while now and figuring things out. And one of the things that always seems to strike me every time something comes up is, how do you deal with the things that are unexpected? And I used to say, I got to a space and it was really pretty functional of saying, well, that's how it is. It's not any other way. It's not the way I want it, or maybe it is the way I want it, and it was unexpected. But that's the way it is, and that worked quite a bit of the time. I think it's a useful step, but I'm kind of refining my practice a little bit, and now I say, well, that's the way it seems, because I don't really know how it is. I have like my perspective about how it is, but that's you know flawed to begin with, and then it's just one point of view. It doesn't have a deep, broad, grounded reality to it. It's just because this has just come up, right? So something's come up, it's not what I expected, that's how it seems. And the reason that I moved from that's how just how it is to that's how it seems is that's how it is pretty much assumes that you're right. And I've come across some situations where I've just interpreted the information just completely wrong. I mean, all the data is there, but the important parts are totally different. And the context is important pieces of context aren't within my reach. So now I go to, well, that's how it seems. And the reason that I use either of those two is just that we can spend a ton of emotional energy and effort on wishing things were different than they were, trying to figure out why things are the way they are. I'm not saying those things are bad in and of themselves, but when you tangle your heart in those things, you can get suffering. And so I'm working on ways to try to get a little bit more elbow room between my ears so I can, one, figure out how things seem to be more accurately before I make some decision about what to do about it now that it's different. And I know that it's different somehow, but I don't necessarily know how. So the point of that's how it seems versus that's just how it is to give me some inquisitiveness about, well, what is it really? How close can I get? Are there other perspectives that will help expand that?
Excuse me, Russ. I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, something happened on the mic end, and you got a lot softer a couple minutes ago.
All right, sorry. There's an air conditioner that's running, so maybe the background noise filter is just cutting a bunch of me out. Can you hear me now?
That's clear.
Yeah, just stay a little closer to the mic. You should be okay.
Okay. So here's the question. What did you guys miss?
Everything.
And the beauty is you don't know what you've missed.
I
know how
like we missed a little.
Russ, we only know what we seem to have missed.
There you go. So that's how it is, or at least that's how it seems. So when we take our step backward, we're not necessarily stepping into any surer footing. We're just stepping into an attitude of, I wonder what's going on here. A lot of the tough things that we run into evoke a kind of reactive space. I mean, somebody runs into my back bumper. I move into some kind of defensive, responsive, this requires some kind of action space. And that might not be setting me up for the best interaction with those people. I mean, I might be in a mood to tell them off for running in behind me and turn around and walk back there only to find that they're clutching their chest. you just don't know, right? So what I'm suggesting is that as we try to be awake and aware, that we start from a place of questioning, not a place of surety, because that surety is going to cause us to be tripped up a little bit. And that's my message in 6 minutes. So now we're going to talk about the idea of not knowing is terrifying. I'm just going to tell you that. You can take it for a fact. You can ask the question, is it really terrifying? I mean, that's my initial perspective, is that, oh no, all of the things that I once knew just really aren't. And maybe all of the things is too big a bite, but pick a topic and, oh, I thought Roshi liked all fishing, and Roshi only likes some kind of fishing. He's not really big in grabbing catfish on the side of the river with his hands in the mud. I just don't know. But there's a lot of things like this, and our nature is to fill in the blanks. A lot of us only have an internet relationship. We've only seen each other in pictures in Zoom, and we have ideas about how we are based on a little tiny bit of information and a two-dimensional picture. And the truth is, people are taller and shorter and wider and skinnier, and there's a lot more to them, but we fill in the blanks. It's almost like paper dolls. They're two-dimensional, but we build a backstory. We build something that makes sense to us, and that's our natures, and there's nothing inherently wrong with it. But we got to be careful that the information we're putting in is recognized as provisional. That in the absence of other data, Dave's as tall as he's ever been. It's a good bet, but it's only a bet. We walk through our lives with this provisional understanding of things, our perspectives, our one-point view, and we have to work as if that's the truth, because we can't get anything done unless we've got something that we're ready to work with. But we need to stay questioning. Otherwise, we forget that we're working on a hunch, that we're working on our best guess, that the information we have is inherently flawed, that our conclusions are sketchy. And yet, it makes sense to act confidently. So there's a bit of a conundrum there about how can I be confident about stuff that's not worth confidence? It's like, be careful, be aware, listen. And that, again, it moves me from that's how it is to that's how it seems. And there's a lot of that's how it seems that I carry with me. That's how it seems because when I was 12 years old, this happened. Or that's how it seems because when I parked my car, it was hot and the soda that I left in the car is going to probably be flat. I don't know that. It's probably a good bet. It's probably worth just figuring that that's going to be the case because it doesn't hurt anything. But when we work with other people, that's where it gets a little more lively. We can be totally wrong. They might not be mad at us. That might not be why they're not talking. Maybe they're distracted about something that's going on in their life. It's not necessarily all about me. There's a lot of variables out there. So we're told to take a step back. That backward step that Dogen talks about. All I'm suggesting is that backward step doesn't put us on firmer ground. It just puts us in a questioning mindset. It puts us in a space where we can have generosity and compassion because it's all kind of fluffy and vague and actually kind of funny if you're not all tangled up in it. It's like, what the heck? All right, here we go. This is how it seems. Some pretty crazy things happen in life, and things happen fast. And our genetics predispose us to be reactive and responsive. In our complex world with lots more variables than ever existed before, we need to understand that no matter which direction we step, we're stepping into the unknown. And even holding still, we're holding still into the unknown. Some of you may have seen the movie Donnie Darko. And the movie starts where Donnie's laying in bed, and for some reason he gets up and he steps away from his bed, and a jet engine lands and just smashes his bed flat. Now, the unknowing of that is just incomprehensible. Why did he get up? Why did he move? Maybe if he'd held still, the jet engine would have landed on the floor next to the bed. But it's just an absurd example of how holding still and not engaging is just as iffy as engaging. There isn't any firm footing. I think the excitement that I have about being inquisitive is that I'm pretty sure I don't know. That's actually the firmest place I can stand is no clue. Let's see where this is going. And to me, I see a lot of assurance. I just went to a White Plum Asanga meeting. Open Mind is part of a larger organization that's what's called an affinity organization of basically they're friendly and they're all connected up. But it's basically Maizumi Roshi's lineage. And I went there and it was eye-opening, the difference between visiting that monastic Zen center and all of our activities. It immediately shifted into don't know mind. And the problem was we're all supposed to know there, right? Because we all wear these brown rakusus and we're all supposed to have years and years of practice. And it was like, whew, I was a fish out of water. They were chanting the Heart Sutra in Japanese, and I was like, nom, 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 nom. It felt like I was chewing gum. So this don't know space is huge. It's just unfathomably large. I learned that, there's this bit about becoming awake and aware that we focus on and we share as teachers. And that's Zen, and that's Zen teaching. And then I saw folks that were engaged in engaged Zen. And that's where they're actually helping people out and going and doing sort of charity and just being helpful and service oriented. And then there's the Zendo Zen, where they've got the chants and the robes in a certain way at a certain time and the right bows in the right order and the right places. And that's a whole nother piece of Zen about managing the space so that it's predictable and dependable and people can come and rely on one thing and learn that they can have an inquisitive mind in a space that they have experience with. And whether we're talking about koan study or this formal Zendo or our style of sitting, they're all there to help us with something we can trust a little bit. But that trust doesn't extend very far, and we need to keep our not knowing minds really vividly in the foreground, to be able to sort of breathe it. So I'm at 16 minutes about, then that's usually where I ask folks to turn on their microphones and have a little chat about this whole taking a step back, about not knowing, and about how things seem instead of how they are.